Okay, now we're going to look at 4.3, which is writing equations in point slope form. So let's talk about, this new form by first talking about what forms have we looked at so far. So what forms of linear equations have we seen? We have talked about standard form. Okay, so if you remember standard form, that's where we have ax plus by equals c, right? And then there were some things with that where both A and B can't be 0. And I think that was really the big rule with, what each value could be. Okay, remember A, B, and C are numbers, X and Y are our variables. Slope-intercept form. And that was another one we just looked at. That's y equals mx plus b. M is slope, b is our y-intercept. All right, so this next form we're going to look at is point slope form. So what is this form? So point slope form is right here. Let's underline it so it kind of sticks out. Maybe I'll box it off. Okay, so it's y minus y1 equals m times the quantity x minus x1. So m is slope, so that stays consistent. So if we're given slope, we know exactly where to put slope. x1, y1, that's a point on the graph of this equation. All right, so what you're going to be given is a point and a slope, okay? And then we can quickly write it in this form. If you are going to think you're going to struggle to remember this form, I'm just going to quickly show you where this form comes from. So remember that I'll keep it in this format. So these are different y's. These are different x's, okay? And these are from two different points. So the point x, y, sorry, that doesn't look like an x. Point x, y, and x1, y1. If we wanted to find the slope between these two, we do the difference of our y's, so this y minus this y, over the difference of our x's, this x minus this x, to find our slope. So this is where this form originates. The equation for our slope is where we get this form. So what we do, we ended up solving for this top difference. And to do that, what happens is we cancel this whole thing out through multiplication. So we multiply this whole side by x minus x1. And when you do that, these cancel. And you're left with y minus y1 equals, well, if we multiply this whole side by that, we have to multiply this whole side by that. So y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Same exact thing. All right, so that's where it originates. If you can maybe remember this and how that works, and you just can't remember this, try remembering that, but I think just memorizing this is your best bet. All right, so you get a slope and you get a point. All right, so I think the best way to jump into this is just by doing some examples. Okay, so all we're going to do today is talking about, given this information, can you write an equation in this form? All right, so write the equation of the line with the given slope and point in point slope form. So again, I will write point slope form here. Your variable y, you subtract your y value, equals to m times your x minus your x value of the point. So we have got our slope and a point. So to write this in point slope form, I am going to do y minus my y value. This would be my y value of my point. So y minus negative 2 is the same as y plus 2. Okay? Equals m, my slope is 1/4, times x minus my x value, which is 3. And that is the equation in point slope form, right? Now we have this one, random point slope form. So I do y minus my y value. Oh, my focus is off. My y value is -1, so I subtract a negative, I'm actually adding. So it's y plus 1 equals my slope times my x minus my x value. My x value is -1, so I'm really subtracting -1, I'm adding 1. And that's it. That is how you write an equation in point slope form. All right, so if you want, you can stop here and start on your worksheet. Your worksheet is just going to be practicing this. If you want to maybe take this a step further right now before class, keep on listening, okay? Because you might look at this and go, okay, I don't really like this form. You might look at this and go, if I'm given this, I don't really want to graph it from this form. You might have to at some points if you're asked, okay? But what you can do is you can write this in slope-intercept form. Because we've said slope-intercept form, you're given the slope and the y-intercept, and that can be nice. So to do that, okay, you're going to kind of use what you know about solving equations. So looking at this, I'm like, okay, well, I can distribute here. So I'm going to do that. So I still have my y plus 2 equals 1/4 times x. And then distribute here. This is a -3, so it's -3/4. Okay, but I want y by itself, so I gotta subtract 2 from both sides. Okay, that cancels, and I got y equals 1/4 x. -2/3 minus 2 is a -2. Not 2/3. -3/4 minus 2 is -2 and 3/4. Right? Got my slope. And right, that was my slope before. Didn't change. And now I got my y-intercept. Okay, so maybe on your own, pause and try to write this one in slope-intercept form. All right, so what I'm going to do first, I'm going to distribute here. So I still have my y plus 1 equals -3 times x, and I do -3 times 1, which is -3. Get y by itself, so I subtract 1 from both sides, and I have y equals -3x minus 4. Got my slope, and it's still the same, but now I have my y-intercept. Okay, so this, if you want to do more on the 4-3 worksheet, I believe there are some questions that ask you to take this form, so point slope form, and write it in slope intercept form. If you want to do that section, it's okay. We will talk about this in class along with taking this form and writing it into standard form, all right? So if you want to try that as well, you can always go ahead and try that on your own. I never encourage or never discourage learning on your own. Have a great time learning this. I think this stuff is kind of fun, lots of forms to learn.